All right, welcome back to another video. Sorry if my voice sounds a little rough in this intro. It's like just after I woke up. That's not important. Today I'll be going over Aizen, Yamamoto, and Coyote Stark, the 3 secret units from the Bleach 1 and 2 update. I probably should have gotten a video out on Coyote and Yamamoto sooner. I had Coyote very early. Yamamoto took a while. But I was gonna try and do videos on individual units, and then I realized that it just wasn't gonna work. So you get all 3 together, and I think it's good to be able, because I can kind of compare the 3 throughout the video, which I think is helpful. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, feel free to please leave a like and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. And let's get on with the video. All right, farm's basically maxed out. I'll show Yamamoto, and we're just gonna go down the line. Oh, right here. So Yamamoto. This unit is placed, inflicts burn to all enemies in range for 5 seconds, dealing 100% of this unit's damage over time. This is fine. I'm not a huge fan of the placement effects. It works at Dio over Heaven because it's a freeze. That's useful. But even with Crusader, this is only going to be 12k damage and burn. It's okay. I don't think it's... Basically, I'd argue this passive is irrelevant. So, I'm kind of biased against this unit. I very much don't like him. Hellfire Zone. Yamamoto has a zone around him that's equal to 30% of his range. Whenever an enemy enters or leaves this zone, they take damage equal to 10% of this unit's damage. Then he deals 20% damage to enemies inside the zone. This passive is not bad, but also 10% of his damage is very small, especially if you don't actually get Crusader on him, like me. I left my editing software. Oh, hold on. Okay. And then his active Burning Disaster. 20-second duration. After activation, Yamamoto summons a tornado that inflicts burn every second, dealing 50% of this unit's damage in a full AoE. Doing 1000% total damage. On takedown, spawns a skeleton with health equal to 100% of this unit's damage, max 20 skeletons. After ability ends, unit loses 20% damage for 100 seconds. So, it's kind of funny, because I talked about how Aizen does stuff that other units do kind of better. Yamamoto falls under the same thing. This is very similar to Alucard's nuke, or Alucard's ability. The only difference is, I would say Alucard is probably a better unit. Let's look at his attack real quick. I didn't realize things were already slipping past. And what was that called? That was called Incinerate, which looks to be about the same thing. He's 3 placement if you don't have Crusader. I think Crusader's his best. I don't know for certain, but I'd assume because he's a nuke, and a lot of these things are percentile of his damage. The thing that stands out to me is he doesn't actually do burn. He does it when placed, and he does it with his ability, but he doesn't actually do burn on hit, which just doesn't make any sense. Got a little flame tone thing going on. Then we have Half Sun, very large AoE. I think one of the biggest in the game, which I would say that is a plus for him. If he did burn, I think it'd be infinitely more useful because he could spread the burn around a lot easier. But again, they just did not give him burn on active. He is hybrid upgrade 7, I believe. I think, again, it shows up the upgrade after you get it for some reason. I could be wrong, and maybe it's upgrade 8, but... So not bad here. If you have Crusader, you'd have, like 300k damage. It says this spawning skeletons with 100% of this unit's damage, max 20 skeletons. His DPS is very low because of his high attack speed. I feel like all he really is a physical version of Alucard, which is useful. But unless you're doing tournaments or something like that, you don't need this unit. I will say that for certain. You do not need this unit if you aren't doing tournaments. There's no point. Physical fire, most of the time you're just gonna have Akaza and Rengoku. They're a much better unit. just overall, because they have similar attack speeds. What Akaza and Rengoku are, they're full AoE. So, the problem is he kind of one-shot stuff right now. So I'm gonna let him attack, and then I'm gonna proc his. Oh, he got a good animation, though. So he can spawn up to 20 things that do 137,000 damage. Which, again, not bad. Obviously, I should have brought Kaido. But then, he loses damage, which brings his DPS even lower than it already is. Like, I could not bring myself to roll on this unit when I got him, because I'm like, he just doesn't seem very good. And maybe I'm in the wrong. Y'all can tell me in the comments. I have a similar opinion on Aizen. If, like, maybe there's some niche use, maybe there's some good use I'm not seeing with these units, but I really don't see it. We have Aizen. True damage, no subtype. His starting attack is, I believe it's a cone that is legitimately this much of his circle. My voice is going a little bit. Okay. He starts with an active ability. This is useful. Also, whenever an enemy enters his range, he instantly applies stun for 3 seconds. Whenever an enemy leaves his range, he instantly applies stun for 3 seconds, and they take damage equal to 100% of his damage. This is kind of good, because, for example, if I put him like this, I'm gonna have to. So let's see. So he does a slash. I tried to record a video on Aizen already. It did not go very well because I brought it up already. I'm repeating myself. He does like multi slashes, corpse flames. Oh, this is the cool animation. They're not fully done yet, I don't think, because if you watch his body, it doesn't have any poses. He also does not have a cosmetic, which is crazy. I don't think these two have one either. I have to double check once we're done here. It's at a bunch of sparklies. Baruhitsugi. This one did not have an animation before. Maybe they fixed it. Nope. This one straight up doesn't have an animation. I will say the 3 second stun on entering range is really useful. We have Soul of Darkness, which is full AoE. This is what made me realize he's kind of a replacement for some other units. So apply stun for 3 seconds when an enemy enters his range. When they leave, apply stun. Yeah, we read that. Perfected form, he gains 25% damage, and every 20 seconds he gains 5% damage, maxing at 50% for a total of 75% damage. This is solid, and I bet with Crusader he does a stupid amount of damage. You have Transcendent Will. His attacks break enemy shields. Just straight up, he breaks them instantly. I tested it in the New Year's mode where I built up like 20 shields on enemies. One attack breaks through them entirely. Like it breaks through all 20 and it still does damage, which is really nice. Enemies who are affected by slow take plus 40% damage from Aizen. This is also pretty nice, especially with the fact that his active ability applies slow. So after activation, it applies 50% slow to all enemies in range for 30 seconds. All flying enemies in range immediately become ground for 30 seconds. This is kind of useful, only in the fact that he gets it on placement. So if you don't have a hybrid unit, you just place him, pop his active, make the flying enemies ground, and your ground units will be able to hit them. And then it instantly deals 100% of his damage to all enemies in range. So, you're probably wondering, what units do I think that he's trying to basically be a replacement for? Dio over Heaven and Kaido versus Luffy. Because you have to remember, both of those units are limited time. Now, where am I getting that idea from? One, he does stun and slow. Something Dio can do both. Dio has a time stop. Dio can do slow if you activate that on him. Or you can just straight up give Dio stun. Secondly, the thing where he breaks enemy shields, one of Dio's passives is to bypass enemy shields, which similar effect is that he just ignores them. The Kaido versus Luffy one, is probably a bit of a stretch on my part, but I still think it's true. They haven't been doing full AoE units much. Kaido versus Luffy was the last one I can remember. Granted, I didn't get a lot of the units from last update. I got Coyote and Yamamoto, and that was it. I did not bother with any. Oh, I got Kenpachi, but Kenpachi was terrible. I stat transferred him onto Aizen. With that, I hope you know, I had a double SPA on first form Aizen, evoed him twice. The stat did not go up. I'm still mad about that. But Kaido versus Luffy is kind of the high damage full AoE unit. The difference is he attacks about twice as fast, can give a 50% team damage buff, increases his range with Toon Force active, and also enemies take more damage from him the longer they're in his range, and he effectively attacks twice. The thing that I would say, if you have Kaido versus Luffy, why you don't need Aizen. The Haki Burst that Kaido and Luffy do when they attack an enemy, even if they are not on hybrid upgrade, it will hit airs. So if they attack a ground enemy and there are air units in range, or air enemies in range, the flying enemies will take damage, even though the main attack doesn't hit. Aizen, you have to get all the way up here, and Aizen is stupid expensive. Because total price is over 100k. I don't know how it compares to Dio Over Heaven or Kaido versus Luffy. I feel like Kaido is cheaper than that. But I don't know. He's not a bad unit. I think I misphrased that earlier. I just don't think he does anything unique, and I feel like if you have Dio and Kaido versus Luffy, you don't need this guy. He is a true damage only, no damage subtype. Dio is also true damage. Kaido and Luffy can also do true damage when they're in Toon Force mode. This unit, again, with Crusader, he'd be doing like 1.8 mil, which I guess makes him the highest raw damage in the game, probably. But because of his really bad attack speed, I do think he's not as good. And also, Kaido versus Luffy providing a 50% damage buff at the cost of stun and slow not working makes half of what this unit does not work. And I feel like the damage buff is more valuable than one big damage unit that doesn't attack very much. I don't know. That's my opinion on it. Again, I think if I had Crusader on him, I think I'd feel a little different about it, but I still just don't think he's very good. Now, to my favorite unit, that they've released in a long time. This unit is completely broken. He is so OP. So, I don't know how to pronounce. Is it just Resurrection? I don't think so. After each attack, Coyote instantly attacks the last enemy in range with his second move, dealing 50% damage. If there's only one enemy in his range, this attack deals 100% damage instead. Twin Sero stance. On takedown, summons a wolf with an 8-second cooldown. Wolf, upon dying, deals 20% of Coyote's damage in a 6 radius circle AoE. So you can see him. He shoots. He does like a. You kind of see him do the double attack. He shoots that, and then the second attack, then rapid fire. Doing that. Yeah. Laser of Purge, which is a cone. So there are a lot of reasons why he's good. First off, he gets Hybrid Upgrade 5, which I believe only costs 17,000. He's super cheap to get Hybrid on. And then Upgrade 7, he gets his Active. He's a total of like 58,000 to max. Solid DPS. And remember, every time he attacks, he does, I think it's rapid fire. He attacks a second time for 50% of his damage. And if there's only one enemy, which will generally happen if you're doing a mode and there's a boss that it spawns at the end, you'll kill all the little enemies first and there'll be just a boss. He'll do 100% damage. So he effectively will do 2 times damage against the last boss in a mode. Not only that, the wolves he spawns, even before he can hit hybrid or hit airs, they can hit airs. They explode in a 6 radius AoE circle, which I honestly don't know how much that is. It's smaller than that. You have 7.2. Roughly this circle is how large of an explosion they have, which is actually not bad. They only do 20% damage, so it's like less than 100k. Why can't I am bad at numbers right now. Holy crap. I don't think I would destroyer beam. After activation, he unleashes his destroyer beam, which deals 500% damage and a 180 degree cone AoE, minus 10% cooldown for 200 seconds. I have noticed a bug with this where it only lets you use it once. However, it's still a 5 times damage nuke that reduces his attack speed for the entire cooldown, which means if it let you use it more than once, which I'm pretty sure it's supposed to, it just doesn't work usually, you can literally have minus 10% cooldown on him permanently. So we'll use it. I believe it has, yeah, it's that. And so now he has 5.8 attack speed with almost 500k damage, 81,000 DPS. He's not the highest raw DPS, but you have to consider you have to add half of that. So he actually has like 120,000 DPS plus the DPS from the wolves. He's just so strong. He's just, I know he has 0 utility really, except that's not really true. The wolves provide utility in the fact that they can hit airs immediately. All he has to do is kill an enemy and he can spawn them. I do wish, kind of, they did a little more damage. The only thing is, he's super easy to get. The legend stage for him is not that, or it's not a legend stage. It's a raid, I believe. The stage for him is very easy, whatever it is. I genuinely don't remember. But it's super easy. Yamamoto, if you are thinking about getting him and you haven't, I wouldn't. Doing 75 portals to get him takes forever, especially because you have to play on the newest infinite to get the portals. So doing the infinites to get enough portals also takes forever. It was not a fun time. I don't think he's worth it. Aizen, I think Aizen's very much up to opinion. I personally don't think you need him, but I do think it's a cool unit.